We are starting with breaking news tonight here in California. Governor Gavin Newsom claiming on social media that the president is sending federal agents to San Francisco, a move that Newsom calls straight out of the dictator's playbook. Take a listen.
He says he's going to send in the National Guard to address uncontrollable crime rates, which are fictitious. But first, he needs to create conditions for anxiety. He needs to create the conditions that he can, quote unquote, then solve for. So what does he do? He sends out masked men. He sends out Border Patrol. He sends out ICE, creates anxiety and fear in the community so that he can lay claim to solving for that by sending in the Guard in the first place. This is no different than the arsonist putting out the fire.
The San Francisco Chronicle is reporting that about 100 federal agents, including members of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, are headed to the U.S. Coast Guard's Alameda base. NBC News has not yet independently verified that report. Meanwhile, all this coming after a busy day in court in a lawsuit between, you guessed it, Gavin Newsom and Donald Trump and the administration. It's all about whether Trump has the power to deploy California's National Guard like he did back in June during protests here in Los Angeles. Lawyers for the DOJ argue that this move was within Trump's authority, but according to NBC News reporting, the panel of judges might have appeared skeptical. Let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris. Misty, if Gavin Newsom, if he's right, if there are federal agents headed this way, I mean, did something change here? Because so much is still pending in court, right?
Absolutely. So it's all about whether or not the president can deploy the National Guard over the objection of the governor. And this is a rarely used emergency statute. And it says that in cases of rebellion, foreign invasion, or when the president is unable to execute the laws of the United States through regular forces. So that's the issues where the president can deploy the National Guard. And the question is, under the particular circumstances, is it warranted? So over time, that could change. Back in June, it could be warranted. Now it could not be. It really depends on the circumstances at the time and what that danger is.
We don't know how this is going to play out, but we do know that there was a lively discussion today in court. Let's listen a little bit to what we heard inside of court today in the case of Newsom versus Trump.
Why is, a couple of hundred people engaging in disorderly conduct and throwing things at a building over the course of 2 days of comparable severity to an invasion or a rebellion?
Well, because violence is being used to thwart enforcement of federal law, and I don't.
But violence is used to thwart enforcement of federal law all the time.
Well,
right? I mean, like the FBI goes to arrest somebody and he, shoots at them or tries to run away, and that happens every day, right?
Right.
All right. So again, I don't want to read too much into what the judges are saying there, but what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is you're talking about when it's from the federal perspective, it's protection of federal buildings, federal agents. It's a lot easier of an argument for the administration to say the National Guard is necessary when it relates to that type of federal issue. But if the National Guard is taking over the responsibilities and duties of local law enforcement, of state or city law enforcement, that's where that line between state sovereignty and federal government may be crossed. And that's the line of questioning you heard with the judges today, whether or not the circumstances justify the deployment in this particular situation.
And Misty, look, we've been getting such a hodgepodge of lower court rulings on this. They seem very incremental. Like, is this going to be definitive, or when are we going to see clarity, final clarity on this states' rights versus federal rights?
With respect to this National Guard issue, it could be imminent as soon as this week. The administration has asked SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, to weigh in on this. And the question is not about what type of danger is enough for the president to take this action under the statute. The question is who gets to decide. This is of huge consequence. It's whether or not, as the administration argues, the president can decide and the courts cannot question it, that it's his word at the end of the day with no oversight. While the states are arguing that while there's deference to the president, courts can still analyze whether or not the type of danger falls under those categories in the statute. That is a huge consequence, Gotti, and who can make that decision will dictate how this plays out across the country.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.